Your main man, Andrew, will come back. And now, I'm going to be talking about duration in D20, in 3.5 Dungeons and Dragons. Duration mainly applies to spell-like abilities. However, there are a number of other conditions that are going to trigger the duration category to come into play, into focus. Now, I want to ask you guys, right off the bat, do you like durations? Before you go yes, before you say no, let me submit pieces of information to you. Now, of course, durations are going to be most critical when you have time at its most precise, at its slowest, when you're measuring by the second. I'm talking about combat. Essentially, every role-playing game really works combat over, whether it's rules, light or rules heavy. They're paying attention to time in combat. I'm sure you're going to go, what about this game? No, son. I'm talking about 99% of games. It's the time where you need to be more precise. However, as a game master, for over 20 years, well over 20 years, I have never, ever had any fun at all keeping track of senseless minutia that could otherwise be much more easily handled. Now, in White Wolf, scene. Round. For me, this is the way it's going to run in the D20 game I'm putting together. 1 round, 2 rounds, scene. Dusk or dawn, day, then you get into multiple days, then you get into a cycle. I'm not going to tell you what that is yet, but it's going to work in that sort of way because that sort of bookkeeping is horrible. Now, if you're the kind of game master that likes to keep track of all that, you're probably the kind of game master who runs 3 sessions of a game and goes, I can't take it, I'm so burnt out. Damn right you are, because you should not be keeping track of any sorts of durations as a game master. You shouldn't. And if you don't trust all your players that much, stop letting them in your house, or don't be fucking near these strange people that you don't trust that much. Absolutely ridiculous. You're going to burn yourself out when you're keeping track of initiative, when you're keeping track of all these conditions. It's not where you need to be focusing your valuable mental energy as a gamer. I talk about that a lot, because I don't burn myself out when I'm running games. I could run a game for 18, 19 hours straight, and I'm having fun the whole time. I'm not burning out. I'm not running out of ideas because I'm using my energy where it's important, where it matters. And most game masters don't do that very well. Most game masters don't get high marks on that. Let's keep it real, because I'm keeping it real, and we're going to keep it real now when I talk about these durations. When you look at something, I'm going to give you a couple examples here. Okay. 8-round combat. We have the combat. Let's just set it up all straight up 3.5 style. We got the hex grid out there, and I know someone's going to go, hey, but Andrew, you can put little rubber bands around you. If you do that in my house, right on the ground with them, and then you as well. That is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen. It makes me want to just gorilla press slam the table and hit an Ultimate Warrior splash on it, get a quick 3. Now, the reason that makes me so upset is essentially what you're doing is playing a weak, pathetic, poor man's bastardized version of a war game. Some people like war games. I would rather take a hammer and hit myself in the face until I die than play another war game. I played one time. It was the worst experience of my life. I have been through tremendous agonizing pain in a physical level. I've had 18 kidney stones. And I will guarantee you this, I'd fucking rather have one of those than play another tabletop game. I know that the miniature guys are going, yeah, I'm going to unsubscribe you now. Sorry, man, I fucking hate those games way more than most people do, because to me, it is absolutely the anthem, the complete foreign aspect, if you will, baby, of what I'm looking for in a role-playing game. It's the complete other side. It's just fight. No interface. I want to be the character here. I want to portray the scenes, that art, that beauty, that elegance. I'm not interested in doing accounting. It's just really basic, simple, 3rd grade level, 4th grade level accounting. Now, if you have that 8-round combat, right, so let's get back to that. Let's talk about that. Let's bring in here. Let's think with here and picture that grid. Now, no one has put rubber bands on it yet, so it is yet to go on the floor. Perhaps that comes later. We shall see in this journey. Now, when you look at the grid, when you look at those miniatures, those conditions that are taking place there, let's examine this. Now, if you've been playing D&D for 10 years, I will bet your life, not mine, but yours, that you have sat in a group where someone has fucked up a buff spell. I will bet your life that someone has fucked up a buff spell in a game. And you might not know it. I'm not going to tell you know it. You're aware of it. And I'll guarantee you probably did too. You know who else has? This guy. Because, you know what? I'm not trying to pay attention to when the bless spell is or how many rounds this or that's going on. Unless it's utterly, completely stopping me from doing what I'm trying to do, I'm not really paying that much mind to it. I'm still in my head while I'm in combat. I'm still trying to enjoy it. I'm still trying to feel the breeze, trying to smell the smells of the monsters assaulting us. I'm trying to feel the swing of their weapon against me and mine against them and the spells that I'm already preparing in my head. I got so many things that I'm thinking about. The last thing I'm thinking about is that damn bless spell. And it happens over and over and over again. And that is damaging to immersion because when everything mechanically represents what's going on, when you have a mechanical break from what's happened, well, why did the bless spell? Is it happened, right? You can't just say, well, that shouldn't happen. No. That happened in the game. So you had those 3 extra rounds. You got 6 players. 3 of them just forgot to take their bless off. Used the whole combat. The other 3 didn't. They took their bless off and they rolled without it. So first of all, they have been screwed over. Second of all, the players who didn't do it correctly, you now have to have a justification in your game for why they were somehow continued to be blessed. Now, you might not think about that. You might not do that. However, that shit just happened in your game, in the suspension of disbelief. What is happening is what's happening. I know a lot of people don't go that deep with it, but when you think about it, you understand what I'm saying. And when you come on that journey with me, when you think about it, all of a sudden you're like, ooh, that's a bit of a problem. And you've all sat there. You have all sat there. Now, if you have played D&D like one time, you've sat there too, most likely. You know, I mean, maybe you haven't. But essentially, most people are going to be actively say, yeah, I've experienced that. Just say, yeah, I've experienced that. And a few of you might not have seen it, but it happened. Believe you me, it happened. You probably did it too. And you just forgot. You're probably thinking now, like that triggered recess memory, like, oh shit, I fucked up. I fucked it all up. I was running 4 rounds, not even 3. I was running 4 rounds, baby. With that bless spell on, and there's so many bless spells that handle it. And some of them are in very peculiar formats for a combat. Now, I know sometimes you're supposed to have like 4 combats in a day or just something ridiculous, just nonsense. That, I'm not saying you can't have it like once or twice in a campaign where things are really cracking off. That's fine. But if that's happening like, you know, that 4-hour session that, they advise you to play 4 hours. You know, I'm not saying enough for 4 hours. For 4 hours of play, you're running like 4 combats. So, you know, maybe they say, okay, this group of ettercaps attacks you. Now 15 feet away, well, you can still see the bodies in the background. Some more monsters attack you. And that just happens over and over again. So maybe, you know, this is ridiculous. That's trash. It's like, oh God. It's just like, oh God. So when, you know, you're divorcing yourself from that tween style of play. I'm not even going with high school on that one. That's some fucking middle school bullshit right there. You know, lunchtime style D&D or something. So, divorcing yourself from that. What is the purpose of having a buff spell that is going to clearly last all of combat, but not long enough for anything else relevant? Like shield, like 1 minute a level. Okay, that's getting me through combat. Boom, I cast it, it's not going away. And it's 1 minute a level. Even if you're 20 a level, that's 20 minutes later. And it's gone. You know, do we really need to have that sort of attention to minutia? It's not really detail even. Honestly, now when I'm examining, when I'm probing, when I'm thinking about it, it's just silliness. You know, if you saw the show, you know, let's say, I look at it like a show, like watching a show. So let's say, bring it with me here. We're watching a show, right? And we look at that show, and we see the guy has his shield spell up, right? I'm not going to use bless because it's not really visible. Shield is. You see the shield spell. It's being hammered, beat on. And, you know, it's one thing like, bam, he gets really smashed and destroyed or whatever. Just go, okay, well, that went away for whatever reason. There's ways you can work that kind of thing in. Absolutely. You know, critical hits and so forth. But just go, and it's just gone. Like, really? That's how your magic works? You know, it makes the character look kind of buffoonish instead of, you know, the serious baller kind of, fighter wizard type guy. You run around shield, attacking people with your, I don't know, what the fuck you use, Morningstar maybe? That's a pretty awesome weapon. I know Tetsubo hates them, but I like them, and they're certainly a lot better than a scimitar or a longsword that everyone does to death. So, you run around with your Morningstar and your shield and just, you know, I mean, you start looking like that dude with the hat on from the 80s cartoon. You know what I'm talking about. And that's not really the jam for your wizard. I mean, if you're going to play a wizard like that, that's okay. But if you're trying to play a serious wizard and all of a sudden you're just kind of a buffoon, and that's how it looks, you know. It's like My God does not favor me that much. You will be blessed for 14.5 seconds. I'm not good. I'm not that pious at all. I steal money from old people. I'm the clergy. I stabbed a dude in the mouth yesterday for no reason at all. If that's, it starts coming up for some kind of ridiculous reasons. To me, the way I'm looking at it, boom, for the D20 game that I'm putting together for you guys. Now, of course, I'm being a little silly here, but look at this. 1 round, 2 rounds, scene. Boom. You're done. You need longer duration than that. Resets at dusk or dawn, whichever's closer. Now, if dusk is like 3 seconds away, just roll it off till dawn. Use your brain. And after that, it's per day. And it's just going to roll for days, then cycles. I'm not going to say what a cycle is yet, but it'll roll over days, several days to cycle, the cycles, depending if you have some tremendously long style of spell. Now, really, though, my question is that fun for anybody out there to sit there and go, I was nauseated. I got nauseated in the first round of combat before I could do anything, so I was nauseated for the 7 rounds of combat, and on the 8th round, I was finally not nauseated. So now, after keeping track of all that, instead of paying attention to other things I needed to do, I'm no longer nauseated. But fuck, I forgot to take that bless spell off. Why not just be nauseated the whole scene? Why not just have bless on your whole scene? And you're saying, Andrew, that's 2 things. I can keep track of that. But sadly, a lot of people can't. And the more you add in, it just keeps going and going and going, Particularly if you're a game master trying to manage this, particularly if you're a new game master trying to manage this, you are fucking yourself in the mouth. I will tell you that right now, and hard too, because you're burning your energy up. You're like, I gotta look over here, and hold on guys, I gotta get this, and, boom, it flusters the game master, puts too much on them. I can handle it. I could run all that shit and pay attention to the time, and it's not gonna be fun for me. It's burning my energy up. I don't want to do that. If I was gonna do it, I have one of our players do it. They don't want to do it either. I don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. They don't want to be affected by it. I don't want to be affected by it. Boom, easy enough. 1-2 round scene. Anybody can keep track of something for 2 rounds. That's pretty easy. It's like now and next round. Okay, I got that. That's, I understand those durations. Those are easy. But when it's almost all combat, what is the point of staying with it? What's the point of being a part of this, abacus? You're just ticking the beads away. And to me, it's absolutely not creative. It's not a creative endeavor. To me, it's a very banal endeavor that is sapping all the glamour from my mind, and I'm not interested in being annoyed while I'm running a game like that. And my players aren't. So for D20, for me, I've just explained one little piece of the system I'm putting together, the game I'm putting together, to lighten up some of the cumbersome, tedious rules, still keeping all the action, keeping all the important pieces in place. However, over and over again, people come to me and ask me on my channel, how do you do this? I'm a new game master. I can't fucking understand combat. This is confusing the fuck out of me. I meet players all the time that aren't familiar with D&D, that play for a goddamn year, and they just have no idea still. Like, this might be a little too complicated for a large number of people. A lot of people tell me that. People that have YouTube channels that aren't big D&D people tell me that. So, that being said, there's a lot of things that can be tweaked and simplified and put into a format where they flow more smoothly, where you're not being taxed, where it's easy, man. It's like a breeze, man. I don't want to be sweltering in the sun. I want a nice, cool, enjoyable breeze. That's the kind of D20 system I'm looking to put together for the ease of anyone out there who's looking to play D20 fantasy without having to be encumbered by a massive amount of needless circumstances that make the game ever so closer to that war game that people are going to say, we started the war game. But is that where you want it? If that's what you want, play war game. Play war game. Play 4th edition. That's fine. I'm not talking about that. That goes even further over there. Lord knows that's popular. So what do you guys think? Seriously, honestly, let's talk about it. Let's see how that blessed spell, how those durations are making the game more fun for you. Or would it just make the game more fun for you if it just flew by nice and smooth? You didn't have to tax your mind, worry about it. You didn't have to think about it. It was just boom, 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 and you got it taken care of. You have those quick duration type spells. Then you have your longer durations, nice, seamlessly handled. Is there that big a difference between if an 8-round combat, you get 7 rounds effect out of one and 8 rounds effect out of another? Is it? Does it really matter? If that spell that lasts for 2 minutes do we need to keep track of that? Do we need to keep track of the extra couple of minutes after, as Lord knows other things that would attack you after you've just savaged an entire group of things around you, Sure, all you've seen that one before, but it gets quite tedious after a while, in my estimation, from observing a large amount of people from hearing questions. So I really want to hear from you guys. What do you think about duration in D20?